So I can't describe to you how difficult it was to make a decision to get a 20-foot shipping container, because you have to be committed on a decision like this because it's expensive to ship around. So I have just basically two locations I'm going to have this in. One is right here, obviously, and I have a short-term and long-term goals with this. My immediate need is to put all the stuff that I had in my garage. I now stored all that stuff in here since I don't have a garage, and I'm going to put it in there. And so in my circumstance, it was going to be worth it. So I was kind of in a gridlock because I needed a place to live, and I needed a place to put all my tools and all that stuff. You'd be surprised how much space is in these things. But just looking on videos, you don't really get a perspective. But I'm 6'2", so kind of get this perspective. I think these are about 8 feet tall, 8 feet wide, I think. But it's never good enough until you actually get a stand in it. But you've probably seen a bunch of videos or pictures on what people do with this, like making it into a tiny house and stuff. So you could easily put a bathroom and a little kitchen area. I've seen pictures of that, and then do whatever you want out here. So 1 or 2 people can live pretty well in here. And some people cut out these for windows or a porch or something like that. People get super creative with it. So I've always had a goal with it. There's my neighbor. I was telling him about this yesterday. And so I've always wanted to get one, and it's always been on my mind. I have friends that want to get these too for the same reasons, and I never thought I would get it this soon. And so it just so happened that I calculated all the things that I needed to do, and this is going to do a lot of things short-term and long-term. So also it has a benefit of a storm shelter or tornado shelter even. I've seen people do that on campgrounds. My church owns a campground near here, and they actually bought a 40-foot long but tall, and they made it into a storm shelter with a vent and everything, and with lights. But you get a tornado that's directly over this, it's still going to knock it around, but you can get these what do you call them, like anchors that they have for trailer parks. So once they park the trailer in the trailer home, they have these anchors that they anchor down, and that put cables and blocks around it, so it has some kind of thing so to hold it down in windy times. So I thought if I came down to it, I could do that, and this will be a nice robust storm shelter. And I strategically put it here because these trees are very brittle, and so during any storm branches constantly are breaking off of it. And my neighbor and I had to cut that one off in order to get the shipping container there. Plus it was hanging over my house, and he was really worried about it. But I just never parked my car under this thing because I've had branches fall on it. But with this thing, it's in a perfect spot for what this can do. Plus I can get on top of it and do stuff in the trees. But if you ever thought about getting a shipping container, I think they're just awesome. I just love the utility of it, and the sound, the echo, the metal. I don't know. It's just a guy in me or something. It's like just feels like a bunker, you know, just protective. And then a lot of usefulness out of it too. So I'm already thinking of like metal stairs that go on the top, and you have a little thing to look out upstairs, you know, on top of it. Always have my little fantasy ideas with these. I even thought I could park my car in there. It was one of these toaster cars. Perfectly square. Fit right in there, just like Knight Rider. Just a square Knight Rider. I know there are a lot of videos on how to do this. Different people doing various things. I'll just show you what I did. But I had these probably landscape blocks and then some pressure treated beams that I used laying around. I got it pretty much level. It's slightly tilted this way just a tad, and some people do that just to let water go off on one side. And what made it easier, I was dreading doing this because it's just kind of I didn't know what to do, but I got one beam under there when the guy was unloading the thing, and right before he plopped it all the way down, I threw that under there, so it's kind of like a fulcrum point, and it made it a lot easier to kind of tilt it up, do this side, tilt it back the other way, and do that side. And then now it's just sitting on all four corners. I could probably take that out, but there's actually a guy that using this method. I'll see if I can find the link to the video, but the guy just by himself without any big machines just used the fulcrum idea, and he was able to lift like these multi-ton blocks of concrete. It's pretty amazing what he does. He's just using fulcrum points and just his own weight to tilt it back and forth, and eventually get it so high that he's able to, you know, tilt it back and get it where he wants it. It's pretty amazing. And I think the Amish probably use some of those tactics. Finally have a warm day to work in. Today I'm going to be working on shelving, and I had done some research on customized shelving for these shipping containers. Basically they utilize these loops and they hook them in, and they cost, you know, a little too much money for what they are. Just I'll show you how I make them, but I just found this stuff at a surplus store, all of this for $9, so I'll be saving a ton of money by welding my own stuff. I was able to buy this. Never had one of these before, but I figured out I better find one. These are freaking expensive. This is an older one, so I got it for $100 for all this stuff. But it's going to be worth it for me to get all my tools organized, and so I'm not constantly freaking out about where my tools are. So This is the idea here. I have some boards I need to get here. 12 by 12s. I mean 1 by 12s, 2 by 12s. All along the way. Made these extra big, so